everybody, it's Jess with Bluegrass Homestead. So out today, we had a number of strawberries we got from Stark Brothers, and they need planting. And it's pretty hot today, but we're out here. I ripped up all my kale that was done, and my carrot bed was grown and finished with what it was doing, so I harvested all the carrots. And so these two grow beds next to our other one are all going to be strawberries. We've chosen a Sure Crop strawberry from Stark Brothers and an Early Glow, and one of them is June bearing, and one of them I think is pretty much it'll just keep going as long as it wants to. They started to flower in the pots, and some actually have strawberries on them, so I needed to get them in the ground very soon. And we have a lot of farmers market stuff going on, and just every day it's something. A lot of work going on, but I thought today's a good day to get the strawberries in the ground. So in these two beds, I've already planted one of the beds. The third bed over there is the one from last year. So I'll show you the one we're doing right now. This is the bed that I'm working on right now. Okay, and I had a question earlier from a friend online when I posted pictures, and she wanted to know if we use sand. Her strawberries are not doing well. I'm assuming she has a container garden as well. And I wanted to give you guys some tips on alternatives to sand. Sand sounds, a lot of people give you the advice to use sand because it's loamy and it lets the water move through the soil and things like that. But here's my one pet peeve about sand. Depending on where you get your sand from, you don't know what microbiome is in sand, and I don't think it's very conducive to having a very rich microbiome. I know there's a lot of bacteria and different things that can live in sand, but what we actually use, if you look down in here, this hole I dug, we have a layer of soil, but underneath that, at the bottom of this, we piled in wood chips from our chick brooder. So lots of wood chips, and then we actually piled leaves and different yard waste. We did that last fall before these beds got planted, and let them make their own compost right here in the garden box. So you can see some of the pine shavings, and those came right out of our chick brooders. So it's nice if you have chickens, if you raise baby chicks and you've got a brooder or a tote full of pine shavings, and you know you're going to have to clean it often, save those in a big bucket. Or we actually have a kiddie pool full of them, but we save them, and you don't have to use them right away, or you can use them right away. But whenever you decide to use them, take these pine shavings full of chicken manure and just put them in the bottom of your grow box. We also layer it into our garden and till it right into the soil, and what we get is a direct sow compost that does great for the plants. So we are going to be planting all of these strawberries, and over there you can see the ones I've already done. Those over there are the Early Glows. These ones right here that are a little bit smaller, these are the Sure Crops. And so, but they're all doing well. They're getting too big for their containers. It's time to get them in the ground. All right, so I'll update you a little bit more when I get some done. All right. Okay, I wanted to talk to you all too as I'm working this bed over. There's some hard packed places in here. This just had carrots in it. So you might be curious, can I plant right over top of where something else just was? Didn't it just suck all the nutrients out? But carrots need a different kind of nutrients than strawberries. Not all of them, but that's part of the beauty of using compost. And we turn this over so much that any weeds and there's a lot of root matter in here. See? All these little root pieces. Well, that's just biodegradable plant matter, which you want because it keeps the soil, it keeps it from using up all the nutrition in it. Now I can add a little bit of topsoil to this if I want to later, if my strawberries don't seem to be doing well, or I can use a all-natural fertilizer if you want to make some banana water. Just pour it right all over your bed, and that'll add some nutrition. I will warn you that too much potassium in your soil will cause the plants to leaf out with lots of foliage and not produce as much fruit. And I haven't looked into pruning strawberries. But right now I'm very much interested in learning about all the different things I can prune. We just did a hard prune on all of our plants in the garden. Okay, so we went through the garden and we staked up and hard pruned 3 rows of tomatoes, and my husband was like, "You just killed our garden. You just killed them all." I took so much foliage off the tomatoes, and within a few days they had huge new growth on the top of the plants, and all of the tomatoes were looking great. They're not red yet, but they're green and they're loaded with tomatoes. So he realized that the hard prune method does work. So we're gonna keep learning. But I learned to prune my carrots this year. I didn't know you could prune carrots. I didn't know you should, but it turns out, especially like, okay, in this garden bed right here, where it must have a lot of potassium, my carrot leaves, foliage grew up. It was 2.5 feet tall, but the carrots were itty bitty, teeny tiny. And I read an article. It might have been Thrifty Homestead or somebody else, but I read an article about prune those carrot tops off, and you can actually prune it when they're very young. Now, I didn't. I waited until they were older because I didn't research into pruning carrots. Next year I will know or this fall, I'll know to prune them even earlier than I did, and it worked. So I pruned them. The foliage came right back, huge. So it doesn't do any harm. But the more foliage you have, the less fruit you're going to get, and the less the size of the fruit is going to diminish, because that foliage, all that extra leafing out, the plant is trying to spread. It ain't worried about feeding you. It's trying to spread. It wants to thrive. It wants to take over. It wants to go all over your yard. If you let your plants go, that's what they'll do. And not all of them will do it successfully and make it. But you know, if you let your yard go, what happens? Everything goes crazy. Everything goes everywhere. Even my strawberries are trying to break out of this box over here. So I'm going to have to prune off some of the ends, because I can't fit more strawberry plants. Now I could split them off and take some strawberry plants and put somewhere else. But right now we're full up. You know how gardeners are. We have way too many plants and not enough space. So that's something to think about. Start thinking about different stuff you didn't know you could prune. Or can I prune this? And if I prune this, what will happen? And do some tests on some stuff. But yeah, you can prune your carrots. You can absolutely cut the tops of your carrots off. Leave, 2 inches from the top of your carrot. Don't shave it bald to the ground. But yeah, you can prune your carrots, and it will make the carrots grow bigger in the ground, and it'll still foliage back up. And then you might want to do a second pruning. Depends on how long between your prunings and your harvesting. But the carrots were great this year, and I was really thankful that I had learned that. So if you guys have any more cool pruning tips or something interesting or different that no one thinks about, I know you're probably like, everybody knows how to prune things. No, we don't. Not everybody knows everything. And there's a lot of different plants that a lot of us have never thought you could prune that. So we pruned our tomatoes. Haven't pruned the peppers. I don't know about pruning peppers. That's something I'm going to have to look up. We pruned the carrots. That worked. And I guess we'll go through and I'll prune this strawberry bed that's already grown up and see what we can do. But yeah, any tips or any advice you guys have is much appreciated, and we'd love to hear about it. And any comments or suggestions you guys have for us too. This is all about learning and growing together. That's what matters most. Planting more, growing more, learning, and all of us will have a successful garden. All of us will have successes together. And what you grow that I don't, I can get, and what I grow that you don't, you can get. So we'll all share in the abundance of what we do. So, and these are our market garden strawberries. So next year, hopefully we'll have a big, beautiful harvest of strawberries, and we can share that and make some cool stuff, make some jellies, make some jams, sell some strawberries, whatever, This is all part of being a farmer's market, homesteader, gardener, and sharing with the community. So, all right, thank you guys for watching. I'm Jess with Bluegrass Homestead. Please like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Come check us out. We'll try to post when we can. We are so busy. It's ridiculous, especially with the farmer's market. It takes a couple days out of my week. Just working on that stuff. Also check out goingoffgrid.shop. That's our store. on our Instagram. If you follow Going Off Grid Shop on Instagram, every day there are different items that have a discount code that go with them, and they're on or discounted. And I'm trying to get back on there. I've got a few more items to add. I've got a lot of gardening stuff to add, and it's a little bit late now. But if you need seed trays, gloves, I like the claw gloves that you can dig with. Those are really great. So check out our garden tools. Check out our page. We've got camping gear. I've got some really cool propane stoves I just added. I love them because if you've ever been in a power outage situation, or if you like to go in the RV, or if you're an off-gridder or a camper, you know that propane stove is awesome. So I got a few propane stoves that are really cool and good quality. Love them, need them. They're necessary in the winter, especially around here, because power goes out. Because this is an old neighborhood out in the country, so we lose power often. Yeah, you guys just holler back at us and say hi. Thank you so much. Check back with you next time. Bye.